Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I'm Sly.
And I'm... Damn! Spook.
Spook, how good was that?
How good was what? Dinner? I enjoyed it.
How good was fucking smashing...
We weren't fucking...
Yeah, that's not the way to start a podcast.
That's how rumours start.
Yeah. Wrong podcast. How good was it beating the Scum?
Yeah, good.
So, going into it, no Mitchell, no DeGoey.
No, I probably thought no chance.
Yeah, as a lot of...
I mean, that's based on you taking two of your starting mids out and two of the better ones and replacing them with Leroy and Jenkins.
Well, it brought Sullivan in to play sub-role, and who was the other one? I can't remember.
Harrison.
He was there last week.
Was he?
Oh, but he was a sub.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Markov,
yeah, it was the other one that come in.
It just felt like two newbies came in and replaced everything. Because I mean, they came in, they did things. That's why they stood out.
Someone I can't remember, Skipworth pointed out on SEM pre-game that they didn't go with Finlay Macrae because they wanted to give him full-time minutes in the VFL rather than playing him as the sub and bringing him on or subbing him off.
Well, they just bring him in and play him full-time AFL minutes.
Oh well, I think
is there a wall in the way? Would they try it once and then...
No, but I think you go back to the Brisbane game, and I was watching that with friends, and like they were complaining, "Oh, why is Macrae being subbed off? Because he's pretty average." And it's like, do you want to win the game, or do you want to persevere with someone for development and take off someone else who might actually, do something? So no, I don't mind that because obviously they're in them. They're thinking maybe he's just not going to be a full game contributor, so we're going to sub him off, so he's going to lose out yet again.
Unlike Harrison.
And Sullivan. So, going into that game, you lost two of your starting mids. I know they've got injuries also, but sort of Doherty. I don't really know who they're missing.
Sard.
Sard's actually a good... Sard's a relatively decent loss. But then they got a lot of soft tissue injuries. But, the core of that team of Cripps and Walsh and Kernell and McKay and Wiedering, they're all there. And they were actually bringing back Adam Chera. So they got some quality in. So looking at that, like going into the match, you would have thought, or you would have been forgiven for thinking, as so many Collingwood supporters did, we're fucked.
That's, it was looking not obvious, it was looking likely.
Yeah, and then you have an opening quarter where...
On paper, that is,
Yeah,
I mean.
Yeah. You have an opening quarter where they they got the better of us. They kicked 5-4 to our 3-2. And for a little while, it looked like, well, they're just going to dominate us in the midfield and constantly attack. And the poor defence is going to be besieged, as they have been so often this year. And how long can they stand up? So, looking at that first quarter, were you panicking?
I don't know, because I wasn't watching it.
But you watched it again. So did you look at that?
No, because I knew the outcome, so I'm in an advantage there.
You're out. Doskazine, you're out. Go leave.
For the first half, I was just, bulk of the first half, I was just refreshing scores at basketball. I thought, we're in front, we're just behind. I think the main breaker were 14 points down. And you look, it's early days, it's gettable. I think we came out, I stopped looking at the scores then, and we came out, I think, just as Cox marked.
Yeah.
And he slotted it through, and I think, we were only a couple of points down at that point, and it was like, fucking hell, let's get in the car and rush home.
Yeah, look,
and then just to frame this where I was going with absolutely nothing of importance, listen to the radio for the third quarter, and we fucking missed everything.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
No, it was. Just going back to the first half. Mm-hmm. McCreery takes a knee to the chin. We were just talking about this a little bit earlier. No free kick, no report. In an environment or landscape now where any hit to the head is deemed, well, you're now, you could get reported for it or cited for it or whatever, regardless if it's accidental or anything like that. So why wasn't that deemed either?
No, was it Peter Wright that took the guy out with that failed marking attempt?
Yeah. So
what's the difference? Has he been cited this week?
No. Well, that's what I'm curious about. Why isn't that in an environment where,
It's the MRP Chook Lotto.
Well, it is, because that's the bullshit about it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it is sort of ridiculous. But McCreery went off. He's been not great this year anyway.
He started well in that game, though.
Right up to headbutting someone's knee.
That's it. I mean, he just went back into the side, into his knee.
So second quarter, we dominated them. Lachie Sullivan What did you think?
Good little start. Popped in. He was on the ground for about 2 minutes and first kick, first goal. Other than that, he brought something to it. He didn't look like... I mean, he ended up with, 12, 13 touches or something like that.
Yeah, like
had a few score involvements.
He was like in front for scoring involvements.
What is the score involvement?
I don't know. He's just part of the chain. I don't know.
You have to be within about a kilometre of the football or something because everyone seems to get them. But he looked like he didn't set the world on fire or anything like that, but he looked solid, like he belonged. And I think that's the benefit of playing a mature mid. Is he an inside mid?
Yeah, but I mean, I noticed.
He didn't play that role that night.
I noticed, like when he was after he kicked that goal and he was, really celebrating, thinking, "Geez, he's 26, so but he's already got the mature age physique." So.
Yeah, you can plug and play at that age and probably get more than a speculative debut that you get with a younger bloke. I think at the moment with some of the injuries to some of the key mids, so I don't think you're going to see DeGoey back for a couple of weeks. And Mitchell had appendicitis today.
Yeah,
I think diphtheria is planned for tomorrow. Tuberculosis on Wednesday. I think he'll be out for a while anyway with that syndesmosis injury, and the longer he's out, I think those things, there's not much you can do other than just rest, so it's probably going to be a benefit.
I don't know, I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but in Craig McRae's press conference, he said the guy was likely to miss, but they thought Mitchell might play, so I don't know if, I mean...
Well, not
anymore, but that was after the press conference.
Yeah. Did McRae have a little jar with his appendix in it on the press conference?
Just bouncing around. Third quarter, we smashed the fuck out of them, yet...
Couldn't fucking convert at all.
So we kicked 4 behinds, and I don't think anything was that hard.
I think we deserved to kick more than 4 behinds.
And they were 3 goals to...
Oh, you mean the points?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was some fucking bad misses. Hoskin, Elliott, and Elliott. It must be a bad night for the Elliots. They missed about 30 metres straight out in front. They're the ones that kill you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of sprays all over the shop.
Probably the most disappointing thing is just how many times they just dominate going into forward 50. Then there's no real plan other than just helter-skelter, and hopefully we get, some spillage and we can capitalise it on or whatever. But then we've done it a few times this year. We've just fucked ourselves with inaccuracy.
On that quarter, we absolutely smashed the inside 50s. I think at one point they put a graphic up on the screen and it was just the last 10 inside 50s. Yeah. And then it trailed off my TV and down across the floor in the lounge room. I mean, but you've got to capitalise on those moments. That's the frustrating part with a quarter like that, where you've done everything fucking right except score.
Well, just jumping ahead a little bit, if you look at the statistics, we dominated them in so many areas, but the scoreboard, it didn't actually translate to the scoreboard.
Yeah, because I looked, there was no goals going up there.
No, so that was a really disappointing thing because I'll get to that a little bit later. So last quarter,
you get to that a bit later.
It's basically going goal for goal with them. And
A shootout.
I thought you said a shit-out.
A shit-out.
Yeah. And then enter the man, Nick Dacos.
Enter the man. Maketh the moment, maketh the man. Maketh the man, maketh the moment.
You think he's got a future in this game?
Nah, he's a hack.
It's not quick enough?
That was an accident what he did. He didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, but he did it twice.
Yeah, well, just to prove a point. Yeah, no, he's a... I mean, the thing is, without DeGoey in there, he played predominantly that DeGoey type role as a mid, except he just did it a whole fucking lot better at the moment. Some of his clearance work was brilliant.
Also, the thing I noticed, some of his defensive work, like smothers and tackles and all that, was just really fucking... He was just zipping, attacking a ball for smother, then he was hitting the rebound, then he was tackling, and it was like, geez, he's just bouncing around with such energy in that. And then I really liked that last goal because he had Walsh on him. Walsh just lost him in traffic. And Chera sort of committed to the contest, so he just zipped past him. Jonathan Brown was going, I don't think there was many players who would have actually finished that the way he did. So he's kicked a goal at the fucking most vital time. I particularly like this goal for the reason that fucking Carlton fans just shit on him out of sheer envy and stupidity. And he was BAG by a long, long, long way.
Oh, yeah, well, the coaches' votes reflected that today.
There was no one else close. I thought Pendles was really good. So, just going to the midfield, you wouldn't have thought we would dominate the midfield, especially after what happened against Essendon.
No, and considering that we had two of the
two primary mids.
Yeah, it's still shocking to think that we because what was the
Obliterated.
clearance numbers in the end?
It was like 60.
We're well on top.
Oh, it was like over 20 or something.
Which is unheard of for a Collingwood
Yeah.
side.
And you go to that first quarter, that Pitternet, we were making him look like fucking John Nichols. He looked like he was going to kill us. And just gradually we sort of worked them out of it. Pendlebury, I was going to say, was really, really good. He kept Cripps quiet and also got like 20 possessions himself and kicked a goal. Kicked a really vital goal too.
That goal was... You can't undersell how important that goal is at his age. I mean, it's side bottom line. Because I think that, like they were talking... Or Brayshaw, whoever was fucking commentating, made something as he was lining up, going, "Ooh, he kicked one from here in the grand final," because that's every goal now outside 50 is going to be a reference back to that, and fair enough. But when he's kicked it in short to Pendlebury, you're sort of thinking it's probably just outside his distance.
Yeah,
because he would have, even though he marked it about 45, he's still having to kick it from 50.
Well, he's pretty smart because he arced around, so he's taken advantage of the stand rule. But he's made it mid-post height.
But that's it. It's gone through it at a height. It would have been a 60-metre kick easy.
Yeah.
So it was impressive for the old boy.
So that game, 13 kicks, 9 handballs, 3 marks, 8 tackles. And that 1 goal.
What's this thing here with people's names and numbers on it?
Stats. I found some that they fit on the page.
We don't do stinking stats.
Didn't you?
Just make stuff up. It sounds more impressive.
Didn't you cite a whole bunch of stats last week because they?
I made them up.
Yeah.
I didn't look them up. I know we did last week because we had time. I did that clack clack thing.
Yeah.
No, I did it on the phone.
Yeah.
Do you know there's numbers on the phone next to names and you can look it up and it can mean something. It means something.
Jack Crisp, I thought had a block better game.
A block better game.
A block better game.
He did have
a lot better game.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the problem clearly is McGoey.
Yeah, this one's working well.
McGoey and Mitchell.
Yeah.
Mitchell, and maybe they've morphed together like in a transporter accident.
But I actually think that's interesting because is it just simply the roles they're playing are sort of pushing some guys out of where they'd be best?
Oh, I think it's a little bit of that. I think mainly though it's the fact that you're playing them with they're carrying something and they can't be at their best. So McGoey's clearly got the groin injury. You got plenty of fasciitis, which is a painful foot injury with Mitchell, and their output's not the same. It's not difficult now to do the math once you knew what the...
No, but I'm just sort of saying, even if the Goey and Mitchell were in there and at their best, you're sort of pushing guys like Van Crisp and that out, so they're not in their optimum position, so you're not getting then an optimum return from them.
Yeah, it's a bit of both.
So that's the way we've drafted for, 10 years is you just like get some flankers and some mids.
It also gives you that sense of unpredictability too, because we're all very much role based and they're all doing the same things weekend. It must become a bit easier to plot how you counter that as an opposition coach or player or whatnot. But when you've got that a little bit of difference going on and they're all in different places, it becomes unpredictable. And when it works for you, it certainly worked.
Yeah, I really just... I've said it about the reserves. You've got all these midfielders, but you're playing now like Carmichael at full forward and shit like that. So you're not developing them. They're not at the best of their ability. It's like, what's the fucking point then? You might as well... Why draft a Carmichael and go, we're going to put you 16th in line, so we'll play at full forward. You might as well then go take a punt on one of those tall players. The tall ones? They go for marks.
What sort of position do you think Harrison played in that game?
Looked like he was playing the side bottom role of... high half forward because he was ending up in the back line at times.
He was everywhere.
So, and he showed a lot of zip. I think it's really interesting because reading reports about him from punters, they said he shows glimpses of VFL, but he tends to fade in and out. But that's that role also. But at AFL level, I thought he's shown a lot more, and it's because I think sometimes with some players, when you get a lot more quality around you, they appreciate you more. So it becomes this symbiotic thing. So I really like the look of him. I'd love to trade him to Fremantle for a first and second rounder.
Even things up. Because that's his 6th game. And like his first 5, I think he played predominantly as a sub come forward. He looked far better in this role than he did in any of those other games.
Well, I think in the Essendon, the Anzac Day game, he was only on briefly, but he looked pretty good. He looks like he's got a relatively good size about him to fit into that AFL role. Markoff, I thought, was handy. I thought Noble was really good. I mean, Noble's a really interesting one.
Do you want to say that again?
Noble,
did you apologise?
I've never bagged Noble in that way. I was going to say, though, he's for me, right, Noble's like, he plays great one game and then the next game he plays equally as bad. There's sort of no real in between. He's just really good at being at either end of the scale.
He's like that Justice is Blind thing with the scales.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like that. He just jumps from one tray to the other.
Sidey?
What was his numbers?
10 kicks, 5 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles. That's pretty much it. 5 inside 50s.
He didn't really stand out. He did a couple of nice things, obviously.
Yeah.
That marked in a short kick to Pendlebury is one of those great little moments. But other than that, I don't know.
Here's an interesting one. I don't know if, again, there's plenty of time, but he's struggled, I reckon, at the last. I thought he started the season really well, but, he just seems to have nosedived. Schultz watch as a player. Lachie Schultz.
How many tackles he get this week? Would have been about 40.
He got 7, so...
His pressure was good, but...
7.
It's kind of hard to still see... So what did he end up with? 1 goal, 1 or something? He got that one in front, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he got 1 goal, that was it. 7 tackles and 1 punch.
What are we recruiting for? What role specifically do you think he was doing? Because he's clearly, I think, over in Freo, he's playing that Elliott type role, and we sort of looked at it at the start of the year thinking that, well, there's question marks over Elliott. He can still sort of morph into that type of role.
But Elliott's also like a lead-up player, whereas Schultz isn't.
What do you think he's not leading up?
No, but I mean...
You had a theory about it before.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't recall what it was.
No, you can't say it anyway.
No, Elliott's...
It's not funny.
Elliott legitimately plays like a leading forward. He'll take marks. That's not Schultz. I thought this game, Schultz's defensive work was actually really good. Offensively, he went for a couple of passes that just didn't pay off and turned it over and cost us goals. The free kick he gave away, I thought, was fucking really irresponsible in the context of the game. Looking at him and then looking at Harrison, and then, you got players out like McCreary is now going to be out and all that sort of stuff. If I had to choose the players, like, who am I going to fit in? And then you got like guys like maybe McStay coming back and shit like that. Like, long term, you look at them and go, I don't know where he fits in the team. He's not doing enough. I mean, my bigger problem with him too is I thought his defensive pressure was really good. He had that one great play in the middle where he laid a couple of tackles in a row. He got a hold on the ball, then he turned around and kicked it to the wing and turned it over. But the actual defensive work was really good. But I look at him and think, he don't seem especially quick. So you're not going to apply that sort of pressure out of frenetic pace like, McCreary. I don't see that you have any X factor like Bobby Hill or like Paul Medhurst, for example. So really your thing is tackling, and that's primarily and almost exclusively your thing. But if it doesn't fall your way, then you just don't have the tools to sort of compensate.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, clearly he's there to pressure and try and keep the ball on the forward line, but there's not much else.
Maybe it'll...
you might...
I mean, and also defensively, I thought
it's
he was
early
really
days.
good. Defensively, I thought he was really good. Like, I was like, okay, I can see why they've taken you. But generally, the really good defensive forwards are ones who have zip and they're just bouncing around and all that sort of shit. Like, I watched a little bit of Bulldogs Hawthorn, and toward the end, Ginnivan did some nice stuff, and I was like, maybe he's growing up. I don't know, maybe he'll go shit in the middle of Swanson Street or something next week. But like, as a player, I thought, he did some really smart things instead of just sort of the Ginnivan, let me dive, or let me, I've taken contact, so I should get a free.
Maybe they look at him as a bit more of a mature and level-headed person. He's never done anything stupid, as he should.
Well, how do you feel about that hit?
That was a fucking shit act in my book.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two things that annoyed me with this. Is A, the execution. He's run up and hit a bloke from behind who wasn't expecting it, and that, in anybody's book, is...
It wasn't a push?
Well, fucking hell. According to 95% of Collingwood supporters on there, it was a push, and they got it wrong.
But that's a push?
Yeah, I mean, they called it a fucking strike in the charge. I mean, doesn't that give you a bit of a clue? I thought it was a pretty low act. I think if you had your time again...
So you think it's a low act because of his height?
He's quite short. No, I think it's a bit of a dog act, to be honest. I don't like it. I wouldn't like it no matter who did it anyway. You don't hit someone when they don't know it's coming. You've seen, it's probably unfair to refer it as to a coward's punch, but the mechanism is exactly the same.
It is. No.
He's run up, he's cocked his arm back, and he's smacked the bloke in the back head. Now, he hasn't hit him with any great force or anything like that.
He's hit him with enough force,
But yeah, he's knocked his head forward and stuff like that, and surely he's full of regret after that sort of thing. You don't want to be seeing that on the football field. I think he's extremely fucking lucky to get a week for that, to be honest.
How much would you have given him?
I was expecting him to get 2 to 3 weeks for it.
Okay, so
I think it's lack of force is probably the thing that brought it down a little bit.
I actually wish they'd get rid of that in the AFL. And everyone talks about it now because of the concussion. It's the result determines the result of the actual contact determines what the penalty is. So you concuss someone, it's going to be a big penalty. You don't concuss them, well, you'll probably get off with a lesser penalty. I think it should just be the act. You fucking hit someone, then whether you injure them or not or concuss them or not, you should be judged purely on the act. That, years ago used to be called a king hit, and there was a big social push to rebrand it as a coward's punch because the king hit sort of had different connotations to what it really is. To fucking hit someone from behind in the back of the head really is a cowardly act. If I was the AFL, and this is a Collingwood player, and I'm not saying this because, I've sort of been questioning his worth to Collingwood. If I was the AFL, I would have given him fucking 6 weeks. I would have said, this is unacceptable. If we see this is what you're getting. You're getting 6 weeks. You do not punch people in the back of the head because you don't know what could possibly happen.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And people go, hey, well, maybe you didn't make contact. Like I saw someone go, oh, well, Jesse Hogan got away with whatever he got away with. And so I didn't give a fuck. Because this was totally different. He's hit someone from behind. And he's probably lucky that, he didn't connect as well. Because he was pretty pissed off when he did it. So it wasn't like he sort of gave a little slap or whatever and they've gone, oh, well, that's not on. He's actually gone with some force. And it's probably just the fact that the Carlton players pulling away, and I'm not making fun of him, but Schultz is higher than that he hasn't connected with as much force and impact as he probably wanted in that heat of the moment. I thought it was a really, really piss-weak act.
Yeah, I didn't like it at the time, and I don't like it now. But, that's his whack, and he's obviously accepted that today. I mean, as if you're going to fucking contest it. I think you take that and then just move on.
So you take that?
I take it.
Yeah, the stuff, I really hate the AFLs. They talk big on messages, but then they don't fucking do anything about it. So you talk about the head sacrosanct. Going back to the practice game where that Jimmy Webster hit, I can't remember, the North player. And it was 7 weeks. And that was where he's leapt up and he's bumped him and he's collected the face. It's the textbook bump they're trying to get out of the game. And they've given him 7 weeks. And something like that, I would have said, that's 16 weeks. You're trying to fucking stamp this out. You're trying to send a message, but then you're wishy-washy on all the outcomes. It's well, maybe we'll give you something, maybe you won't. You didn't hurt him, whatever. It's fucking do something about it instead of just bullshitting on. And sorry, this is going to sound really horrible. It's the stance they did at the start for the, against domestic violence, is you're really good at putting a show on, but you're not really good at enforcing anything, which is what frustrates me. And I actually I saw a clip come up on my YouTube for Footy Classified where Jimmy Bartell was talking about Taron Thomas, and he was just saying, you can't let him back into the fucking league. And Matthew Lloyd must have said the same thing too. And it's but the AFL would just let him in because, again, the AFL doesn't really... They talk the good game, but they don't really do anything. The important thing in the AFL is let's not disclose player weights anymore. Let's not disclose skin folds. They're going to be, really hurtful to society, but the actual things that matter, they do fuck all about them when they could actually really make, a positive message. That's my little rant for the week. Would you take Taron Thomas if he was on the market?
You put me on the spot there.
Oh, well, I wouldn't take him because of the shit that comes with him.
No, I think the baggage is too much. He's a good player. You'd certainly take him on form and ability, but I think the optics are bad.
Oh, it's not just the optics. It's just, don't give him a second chance. It's not even a second chance. It's a lot further down the track.
Yeah.
For the shit that comes. There should be a punishment for fucking that. Not, here you go. Here's another go at it. Any final thoughts about the Collingwood Carlton game? You really, we're obviously both pleased that they won, but you're surprised, given how spasmodic our form has been, that we actually dominated them everywhere other than the scoreboard.
Oh, totally surprised. Pleasantly surprised. I'm glad it panned out that way. I don't like losing to that club. Yeah, do you? I don't think anyone does.
No,
It's not good for football. No, I'm still stunned. Like I got home in time to watch the last quarter live, and yeah, there was a.
Why wouldn't you be alive?
Because normally I like to spend most of my time dead, for tax reasons. It was amazing. The wife, the kids, they all came round and all got really absorbed in the game and quite emotively absorbed into it too. I was literally shaken by the end of the game. I was that sort of not tense or wound or it's just that nervous energy type thing. And it took me quite a while to calm down after it. But the good thing is just having observed that I had none of the baggage of the previous 3 quarters to drag through. Like a whole 4 quarters of that probably would have killed me if that's what the last quarter was like. But then straight away I cracked a scotch and put the start of the game on, and it just was so relaxing to watch, knowing the outcome, that I don't think I had that sort of nervous tension of watching the game that probably everyone who watched it live with. It was quite I might start doing this in the future, I think, just weigh up the outcome and then watch the game quite pleasantly mellow. Because the simple fact is, I remember thinking that if we lost this, it's going to be hard to do the rant, because I'm not fucking going back and watching the replay losing to those pricks. So
I'm sure we would have got the messages. Let's just fuck this. I'm fucking had enough. I'm out. You've never done that, fortunately.
No, I usually take losing pretty well. Which would have just quoted some numbers and said some shit. Unlike today, where I just quoted some numbers and said some shit. Just different.
No. You said some shit, then quoted some numbers.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you cleared that up.
In seeing that performance, you got to see it a little bit more clinically. The first 3 quarters. What do you think they need to improve on? Outside of accuracy and wastage,
the forward line, and with Mio out now, fucking hell, it's the cupboard's looking pretty bare because of what he brings. There's just no leading tools, and that's the thing that frustrates me. I think is the forward line tends to function predominantly on flood line. The forward line, it just seems to function on chaos.
Well, that's what it seems to be. It's like, get it down there, get some spillage, and then
make something of an opportunity.
Yeah. And that's why we have the pressure forwards running around. And
there's times, I think where it frustrates me the most is you see you've taken possession in the middle and you're streaming forward, and there's paddocks, this fucking wonderful green oasis that a leading forward could run into and take a mark on the lead. That's always a thing of beauty, taking that sort of mark on the run and turning around and converting. And
you get half of that maybe at Collingwood.
Yeah, it's just like, I wish we had something like that would shore up the forward line. At the moment we just seem to have a fleet of crumbing opportunistic forwards and one big bull that runs around there and hurts people where he can, and that seems to be about it. It just doesn't seem creative enough. Well, we're winning games though, so what do I know?
My cousin Nicholas was at the VFL game. Not this week, but the week before. I'm not going to name who it was, but there was a pretty high-ranking member of another club, former player, former premiership coach, who just said he was befuddled by Collingwood's absolute ignorance of drafting tools.
It's staggering.
Genuine tools, that is, not just like fucking taking the Hail Mary at pick 80 on whoever. Yeah, I just really... It was actually surprised me to feel like someone at another club is sort of looking at us going, what the fuck are they doing? I guess we won a flag, but... you look at it and you think, Carlton with Curnow... Curnow, you take Curnow and McKay out of that, would have won by 115 points. Or you just take one of them out of it. All the top clubs really seemed, focused on actually drafting tools or trading for tools. Like Geelong took Jeremy Cameron, traded for Jerry Cameron. And it's like, for us... It's really interesting what the coach's expectation is, because the recruiting staff's been there for Malthouse, Buckley and McRae as coaches. So under Buckley, I don't think they really traded or drafted for any real genuine key tools. The only one they really traded for, outside of Quinton Lynch, but that was like more a ruck forward, was Jeremy Howe, where they sort of wanted to play that Gunston role, sweeping up forward and all that. And get Jesse White, which is sort of like he's still trying to play that Lee Brown role with these sort of players. So it's just why that's the mandate at the club. It just seems to be, no, we don't want these types. And I know the club would say we're drafting the best available. But it seems to me if you're going, that guy's the best available, and then this guy 3 spots down, but he's a key forward, maybe we'll take the key forward instead. It's a really, really odd.
Oh no, I totally agree. It's frustrating. But we won a flag last year, so what do we know?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, everything seems to hinge in a lot of ways on McStay coming back in as early as possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of, when Kruger came back to the VFL.
He's had, was it 1 game or 2 games that he's played
had one, I think. And he's only had one because I remember because people were going, well, Kruger's coming back. He's been selected for the seniors.
Oh, yeah, it was that miss point.
Yeah, and Ash Johnson's been playing defence and forward.
Is he doing well at either of them?
I don't know. I mean, it seems a weird thing. Seems like they're trying to give him confidence by playing him in defence and then flipping him forward.
I did read something, and I haven't read too much this weekend, but apparently he played 3 quarters in defence this week, and then the last quarter they moved him up forward.
Yeah, so...
Did they get advance notice that that Mychek had pinged his hemi?
No, look, I don't know. I don't know what they did, because they did that the previous week. They played him in defence and then they moved him forward. So it was like, why? I don't know. But... It's really interesting because is it they just play on chaos? Because that sort of seems like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. There's some games that they really, really struggle, and there's other games where it just all falls their way. I wish they probably, kept like an Ollie Henry or someone who's got a bit of class. Hill's got class. Elliott's sort of classy, but I don't think he's a real X-Factor type player. Not like a Hill. And Schultz is really workmanlike. I think McCruger is really workmanlike, so I sort of wish they had a bit more... just sort of a bit of Medhurst or Didak or that sort of player in there. So, Harrison, that's too early to tell, but he looks again sort of more like just a zippy forward, but not the, the X Factor wow type forward. I mean, I could be wrong. I've only seen him a few times. Any final thoughts on this game?
No, it's just good to beat the filth, really.
Did you see Roaming Brian, or did you see the footage?
I saw the footage of him and Dacos. Is that what you're about to reference?
Yes, I'm about to reference
that. Is that what your notes say?
Yes. Do you think it was disgraceful?
No.
I thought it was fucking...
Well, actually, I thought it was... I don't think the umpiring... I didn't remember it being all that particularly...
Oh, it was shit. It was...
You reckon? I don't remember it being like glaringly howlers or anything like that. There's a couple of bad calls and that sort of thing.
I thought the first half
he was fired up about it though.
The first half was favouring us, and the second half it really got even up the other way, which is, I don't know. But I thought it was really uncouth and unnecessary, and they probably should have let him back in the rooms again. But he's employed by Channel 7 Brian Taylor, so what are they going to do? Dakes was good though.
He was great in the box too. Obviously, he's obviously well oiled by that stage. And good on him.
Yeah, I mean, go some more kids.
Drinking at the football, it's unheard of.
Yeah. Well, does he drink? They get full strength beers there. They would.
In the box, you do.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want.
So next week, playing West Coast.
The might of
West Coast. No the Goey.
No.
No Mitchell.
Is the Goey confirmed? There's no, or we just can assume.
I'm assuming that McRae post in the press conference is pretty adamant he wouldn't play. So no the Goey.
Oh, I wasn't expecting him to. I didn't know whether anything had been said yet.
And I actually reckon because this is at Marvel with the harder surface, this would have been the game. So no the Goey.
Yep.
No Mitchell.
No.
No Mychek.
No.
No Schultz.
No.
No McCreary.
No.
No Hoskin Elliott.
You reckon?
No, he'll be selected. He just won't do anything.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Do you think we should cover him in flour or something before the game so they can see where he is?
No. Why would you want? What are they going to do in terms? That's a lot of. I mean, 2 of the guys are already out, but Schultz, McCreary, and Mychek. So that's 3 outs for this week. You're looking at probably bringing Ash Johnson back, whether he's ready or not.
Either that, or you throw someone like Howe forward and you bring Dean in as a defender.
Well, the other one I was actually going to say is they throw Moore forward because Waterman's missing.
You keep saying that. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, but Waterman's missing now, so that's their leading goal kicker for the year. So that's the one they could actually do, or they could rotate it or whatever. I don't think they'll bring Kruger back, and I hope they don't, off one game.
No, but, he'll last 10 minutes, though, if he does.
I think if he gets a good run, that he could be all right. But, I mean, that's a while off.
What about Coxie as a full forward permanently? We've never tried that before.
Yeah, I mean,
He would stretch their defence, though.
It's actually surprising that with McRae, where it's all about get the ball down there really quickly, they haven't tried Cox as a sort of helter-skelter forward. You know, under Buckley, it was like, yeah, you're going to be the deepest forward at times, and will take about 7 minutes to deliver the ball to you, by which time you'll be flooded and triple-teamed and bumped out of it. So it's surprising they never actually tried him for it. But I mean, I think, given McRae's methodology, he would have to go for senior body. So Ash Johnson would be pretty much a definite in my book. I think this is the perfect game to give Finlay Macrae a full game at it against the younger midfield.
Why not?
You know, maybe even tell him to run with that Harley Reid.
What's the other options?
Well, that's the other thing too.
There's Reef, sorry.
Reef McGuinness is another one. So they could bring him in. See, this is the thing I don't like. I'd love to see McGuinness as a midfielder, not as a forward. I don't want to see him bring him in and play him at full forward. But that's probably what they could do.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably an obvious one as well, that he'll play him forward, so... I mean, I don't know. It's obviously it's all about matchups. Do you know anyone who plays for West Coast anymore? Yo's out, I believe. That what's his name? Walt.
Dom Sheed?
No, the other. No, is he playing?
Shuey?
Yeah, Shuey's on the other foot, isn't he?
I don't know.
Shuey on your boot.
Is that Dean Cox? He's still there.
Is he? What about that one who looks like Gollum?
Phil Matera?
Yeah, him. Is he coming out of retirement?
I don't know.
Didn't we do these jokes 2 weeks ago?
The Phil Matera one. No,
were they good? Did we get any good feedback? Because we can do it
Matera,
again. What are we doing again in 2 weeks' time?
I always said Phil Matera looks like Woody Allen.
Well, who just fucked Gollum.
So, yeah, I don't know what... I mean, Joe Richards is sort of doing okay in the VFL, but... I mean, it's interesting because you're losing McCreery and Schultz, you're losing 2 small forwards, and then you're losing Mindcheck, so you've lost 3 players out of that starting 6. So, that's where you got to cover a lot of the space. I mean, I'm curious how bad the Goey is, because with the Goey, you know, if he was like 50-50, I'd say, you know what, let's just play him at full forward.
Well, you could do that, couldn't you? Just keep some running into him.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's osteitis pubis, I think.
Yeah, I'd be giving him more time off. Yeah.
I think so. And you've got you're playing. What do we got the week after? Is it Footscray or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't pay attention. Of the next 6, we should win 5. I can't remember. I looked at the sides, and not the only, but the most difficult one was, I can't remember who it was. Melbourne, I think.
Okay. I mean, this is the time where you want to rest. I think this is always the plan, to get a few of these blokes to this point where you could rest them. But, you know, the cupboard sort of still feels a little bit bare underneath. I think the ones that we named are the most likely ins, but it is probably the biggest number of changes we've had in a while under McRae.
This is you go back a couple of years ago when we lost...
Forced changes as well.
Yeah, we lost the West Coast. It was a really...
Fuck, that's not going to happen again, is it?
No, I think it will beat him, but I just thought the interesting thing back then, I remember the Goey missed, I think he was reported or some shit, but like we had a couple of players, we had a few senior players out, and it felt like the balance of the team went from, okay, more senior bodies to now more young bodies, and that's why I think they lost. It just sort of really skewed the other way because they didn't really have any option. And this is sort of this thing I think is a little bit of a danger. You bring in a lot of inexperienced players. They haven't given a lot of game time to Finlay Macrae. Ash Johnson's really struggled, and regardless, he's still really inexperienced forward. Kruger's missed the whole year up to this point, so really don't play him. You could play Dean and then, as you said, move Howe forward or something like that. You could go really left field and go, let's play Quainer as full forward, because Quainer's been really underwhelming the whole year. Let's just do something different for the fuck of it. But then I don't know who the other midfield options are. McInnes, Finlay Macrae. Demadia made his debut for Collingwood, so he's miles off it at the moment. Ed Allen, sort of, do you give him a look in for this game? I mean,
I wouldn't.
If you're going to debut, I don't know.
I mean, you could, but
if you're going to debut one of the young guys, or give one of the experienced players a go, this would probably be the one to do it, just because you're against an inexperienced team. That Bytel was really good in the VFL, so he's another one potentially that they could bring in or play as sub.
So we've not really any seasoned senior listed players running around the VFL at the moment, do we?
No.
Can we buy any?
No.
eBay? We looked on eBay?
I don't know.
Amazon. They deliver by tomorrow.
If they don't, I'd slap a table in disgust. Yeah, I don't know. there's not really anyone down there. I mean, that's why they're struggling in a VFL level, aren't they? Because they really have such a young, inexperienced team. I mean, they're losing the bloody sides that haven't won a game in 6 years. I mean, fucking...
It's not an omen, is it?
Well, they lost last week to, like, the Cronulla Sharks, and they're a rugby team. So, I don't know what they're doing down there. They have to get Josh Fraser back in the Guernsey. Paul Lacuria, get him in the Guernsey. You know, get a few of these players running around out there.
Why not?
But,
what about Quentin Lynch? What's he doing?
I don't know.
He owes us, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's probably got intel on the club.
Really?
Not much, but he's probably got some.
Bucks. Get Bucks out there.
He's short of a coin at the moment.
So what do you think about West Coast? Is it a danger game with all these?
I think sometimes it depends on how you approach it. If it's one of those ones where you go in and you don't, even though they're an ordinary opposition, if you don't treat them with respect, shit can happen.
Well, they've been pretty competitive the last 6 weeks or something.
And Harley Reid, I think, mate of mine, Peeves, got me excited where he was. I didn't watch the West Coast game, but he said that it looked like Reid's pinged a hammy or something towards the end, but clearly that didn't happen. You got to stop him, even though he's only had 4 games.
Well, that's like I said. It'd be interesting to get someone like Finlay McRae in there and just go, you know what, you're going to run with him. You know, Finlay McRae, like I'm not saying this to be negative, but I haven't really seen anything at AFL level that makes me hopeful for the future. I know he monsters the VFL level, and I know before we drafted him, there was a lot of hype around him and all that sort of stuff.
Essentially playing a VFL side, but maybe he'll explode this week.
Well, he did that against Essendon the second time we played him last year when he came on. He really did well, but the Essendon side was like a VFL side. So, but, you know, I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know why they're saying let's give him more full games in the VFL. I don't know if there's there's an aspect of his game they're saying you got to lift it. I find it pretty laughable when I think Kane Corns goes, oh, well, I think his cards are marked if he's not getting selected in round 8. That's why they signed him for 2 years, Kane. They marked his cards. They just said, let's just do a piss take. And then what we'll do, like round 12, we'll call him in and go, punked! You signed for nothing.
But you know with the media, though, they'll do his cards marked stuff this week. He'll play this weekend. He'll probably get 30 possessions, kick 3 goals, and then Kane will write an article saying, has Collingwood unearthed another talent?
You're presuming that Kane can write.
Well, he'll dictate to his pet monkey.
I think with Finlay McRae, the blocker games we have are against more, outside of Melbourne. Melbourne's the one heavyweight. I can't remember all of them, but North's in there and Adelaide here is in there and West Coast and so the games they should win. Like I was looking, thinking they should win 5 of those, but they're probably going to be a good block of games that if you're going to give Finlay McRae a run, go do your best.
Go ape shit.
Like the Brisbane game, he didn't do very much, but he did one really good play. I remember in the middle where the ball was hot and someone handballed it to him, and the Brisbane player was running to him, and he did this grounder handball. So he was smart enough to go, well, it's going to get smart, but I can't go through him. Let me go under him, and he decided that instantaneously. So stuff like that, I think, okay, that shows me something, but that's about the only thing I've seen, I reckon, in all the time I've seen him. So what are your tips? Or what's your tip?
If we had a full side, we'd win this by about 180 points.
If we had a full side, I reckon we'd win by 7 points. And we'd have to come back from 6 goals down.
Does that mean we're going to lose this by 10 goals?
No, I'll tell you one thing I like about having the young guys in there. They're really hungry and they're full of energy. So you see them running out like Sullivan and Harrison. It's like these guys want their spot. So you bring a couple of more of them in, and I think they're going to fill the side with a bit more energy and shit.
Yeah, I mean, surely we're not worried about West Coast.
No, well, I had people going, Waterman and Yara out, and it's like, seriously, we're not worried about their outs, are we? We're not like sitting there going, I hope fucking Waterman misses. He could kick 15 against us.
Look, I reckon probably with our outs as well, if you snuck away with a 5-6 goal win, you'd be happy. Okay.
Oh, look, I just want to win and have no injuries at this point.
Well, yeah, that's a point.
Because I've had a few sort of...
And we're playing on the concrete monstrosity.
Fucking what a shit hole that is. Not that I'd ever say anything bad about. What's it called? Marvel.
Is it this week?
And Marvel's owned by Disney.
Oh, there you go. You joining the dots?
Would you actually, just out of curiosity, I'm being serious, would you play Husker Elliott as full forward? As a leading forward. He's a good mark. He's got some pace.
Well, you got nothing to lose.
They can't see him.
What's he going to do? Double his output?
Oh, well, he gets
as a worst case scenario.
I will say, I mean, all joking aside, I thought he did some nice things against Carlton, but, needs to be more consistent,
Yeah.
which we've been saying for 6 years.
Look, I think you could. I think it could be one of those games where you can probably...
Do you know one that someone on X said, you guys get real, Hoskin Elliott's a gun?
Who said that? Really?
Yeah.
Who said that?
I can't
Was it
remember.
He seems to be in love with him.
No.
Turt sleeps with the Hoskin Elliott blow-up doll? He told me. He said not to say anything, though, but he does.
Okay.
And a puncture repair kit.
Who's that for? Come on. Well,
What are we up
Hoskin
to?
Elliott full forward.
Oh, why not? Why the fuck not? I think it's one of those games you could probably throw a few guys around in different positions as well, which I think we'll end up seeing.
Okay. Any final thoughts at all?
No, I think I've destroyed the world.
I think you got that. Like, subscribe, recommend. We had a couple.
Why would you recommend this?
Oh yeah. Well, we had a couple of comments on our YouTube channel saying best podcast going around, and then someone said agreed.
You shouldn't do drugs and post.
So there's two people who know the secret.
There's two people here that can type.
Yeah.
Which one did you write?
I wrote the agreed.
Yeah.
Was that you who wrote the
No, I
agreed?
wrote agreed as well.
Anyway, we'll be back next week, hopefully after another win. Suck shit, Carlton.
That's it. You fucking wankers.
Yep. Later.
Goodbye.
I didn't throw this.
Throw it now. I'll throw this pen. Oh, fucking West Coast gonna win. I'll let all keep those sons of bitches happy.